All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Ephraim. Today's date is June 29th, and I was led to do a presentation on something I saw that inspired me. That's one good thing I love about being at home and even being able to because many of you who don't know, I actually teach for a living. I'm a college professor. Like, I do that, right? Like, on top of all these lessons that I do, I take the time out regardless. Because I got to do, because my microphone is constantly attached to my laptop, so it's nothing for me to go from one to the other, like, right, you know what I mean? So, and all I gotta do is just launch my power director and gather what I want to put forth, and there you go. So, I mean, like I said, I love what I do. So, I'm able to handle my business as far as because I teach human resources management. That's what I teach on a college level. So I do that, and then plus all these lessons I do for you guys for free, basically, because it's a labor of love. Because I love you guys, man, and I want everyone to be saved and have salvation. All right. All right. So that being said, I was led to do this lesson because I really think between because history has told us about the Moors, which a lot of black people seem to think that we're Moors, quote unquote, which Moors is a real ambiguous term, and really historically the term Moor was just really meant to denote dark skin or black, but a lot of people seem to think that we're Moors, and that's not true. History would have us believe that the Moors were actually the Berbers, and I don't believe that to be true. I think I mentioned a while back that just because history reports something, or that doesn't make it true, right? People kind of tend to think, oh, because history said it, or because it's a part of history, that it has to be true. No, it does not. It does not have to be true, not at all, because they always, and if you notice, they never refer to Ishmael. They always refer to Ishmael and his descendants as Arabs. And I don't know if that's deliberate, to give off a different impression, or give off because they don't want to give off the connotation of what they actually look like. The original Ishmaelites, right? Because that's what they should be really called. But it's rare that you'll see an article referring to the so-called Arab Muslims as Ishmaelites, but that's what they were. Right? And I'm going to get into that in this presentation. I'm going to get into how history depicts them, and how history depicts the ones who was going all over the world and with the Muslim conquest and taking over stuff and ruling Spain. And I'm going to show you the pictorial proof of what I'm saying, and then I'm going to show you what they're trying to sell me or sell us. And I'm just not buying it. Now, this is my hypothesis, right? This is my I'm not saying that this is an actual fact, but I believe it to be true, and so I'm going to present why I believe that to be true. I believe that I think history got it wrong on this one. Okay, I don't think the Moors were Berbers at all, or any of those kind of weird groups from supposedly from North Africa. I believe the Moors were actually Ishmaelites. Period. Right? Dark-skinned, Negro-looking black men, because that's what the original Ishmaelites looked like. Because let's go back before I start the presentation or set it off. Abraham was a black man. Okay, for all intents and purposes, Abraham, I would have to say, was a Negro. Okay, now, so if Abraham was a black man or a Negro, and Ishmael's mother Hagar was a black Egyptian woman, or a black quote unquote Hamitic woman, however you want to look at it, she was a dark-skinned woman. 9 times out of 10 she had kinky hair, the whole nine. I'm going to get into that. So I believe history got it wrong. I believe that they don't refer to Ishmael correctly, and I think they do that on purpose, because they want to give off they want to throw it off like they don't want to tell you that Ishmael is the progenitor of the quote unquote Arab Muslims. They don't really want to tell you that, right? They always refer to them as Arabs. And even if you look at what the so-called Arab Muslims look like today, they look nothing like Ishmael. It's almost like they've tried to I don't know if I can call it whitewashing history with respect to that, but I just don't believe the Moors to be this kind of weird people, or Berbers, as they would have us believe. I believe that the Moors were actually the Ishmaelites. Let's get it. All right. So, it appears that, history goes to great lengths to kind of take black out of everything. It's like they want to just remove, they don't want history or people to know if the blacks were good or great in anything in history, which, I mean, we know they can't really and totally do that, but it appears that that's what, because you look at, it's subtle things, right? Like that, like taking, changing names of stuff, right? To take away certain connotations or take away black connotation. I covered that a few times, right? Or not referring to, Ishmaelites as that, because he's the progenitor of the so-called Arab Muslim, whatever. He's the progenitor. Ishmael is. Matter of fact, they said the Prophet Muhammad of the Islamic religions is directly related to Ishmael, right? I mean, it's like that. And they just never never want to give props or give due to the black throughout history that's just been great, or black greatness throughout history. Because all those Muslims going around conquering stuff in northern Spain, all this and that. Let me tell you something. Those wasn't no Moors. Those were Ishmaelites. Okay, making it happen. They was not playing around. That's what I personally believe. That's my hypothesis. Okay, but for some reason, history never wants to give props. But check this out. It says Ishmael is recognized as an important prophet and patriarch of Islam. Muslims believe that Ishmael was the firstborn son of Abraham, yes, born to him from his wife Sarah's slave, Hagar. Ishmael is recognized by Muslims as the ancestor. See how they word that, as the ancestor of several northern prominent Arab tribes, and the forefather of Adnan, the ancestor of Muhammad. Muslims also believe that Muhammad was the descendant of Ishmael, who would establish a great nation, as promised by God in the Old Testament. So with that little tidbit right there, they said Muslims believe that Muhammad was the descendant of Ishmael, who would establish a great nation as promised by God in the Old Testament. Well, where's the great nation? Because they're making it sound like, oh yeah, them boys just cousins. I mean, the way they making it sound like they just kind of related. You know what I mean? Like it's like even with that, it's like they just refuse to give that black man his props and his credit, and it seems like that's just really prevalent throughout. They've been doing that. And they're trying to whitewash Egypt. They try to whitewash, they just try to whitewash everything. Try to just remove black from history, man. It's like, wow, really? But here's the thing, right? And we're going to go here. This is going to be going to the next segment, and I touched on it, on the intro. Ishmael, his mother was an Egyptian. Okay, his father, Abraham, was a black man. I'd say Negro, right? So you put black and black together, you're going to get black. Straight up. There's no way around that, right? So now they've tried to tell us that the original Egyptians weren't, quote unquote, black or Negro type people, right? But we know that's false because we have proof, and the proof is called mummies, right? So check this out. All right, boom. Remember how I told y'all yesterday or day before that I believe that the Most High allows us to find certain remnants of the past, whatever the case may be. Now, how rare is it to find an Egyptian mummy with the hair still attached? All right. Now, this without a shadow of a doubt proves that the original Egyptians, because that's what these are mummies of, the original Egyptians, there was no denying they were a black Negroid type people, right? And that's why I believe that the Most High does that, because He knows the unscrupulousness of men. Men lie, men, especially Edom. I'm not going to even get into that, but those pictures are worth more than 1,000 words. Right, I believe wholeheartedly that the original Egyptians were a black people, and so That being said, I believe that coupled with the fact that Ishmael's mother more than likely looked just like one of these, Egyptian mummies said she looked with the hair, with the braids and all, like, dark-skinned, Hamitic Egyptian woman, period. And his father was black. So Ishmael, for all intents and purposes, was the prototype of that brother I had in the last segment. I believe that like to be the prototype of Ishmael, right? And Ishmael wasn't no joke, not at all. So on to the next segment. And see, these people, my brothers and sisters and sojourners of Israel, are the Berbers. And history wants us to believe that these are the ancestors, these people you were looking at are the ancestors of the Moors that ruled Spain and went through conquering and everything. They want us to believe that. They really do. These are the ancestors of the Moors. These are the Berbers right here we're looking at right here. And they're still in Morocco. These are the ancestors of the so-called Berber. They call these people they call them the Moors. And guess what? I'm not buying it, my people. I'm just not. Because every time you look at the pictures of the Moors that was really doing the damage, you see images like this brother right here. This is the Moor. This is what they call a Moor. Every time history depicts them, the Moors that was doing all the conquering and running around and making it happen, it looked like brothers just like this. So that's what I love about the pictorial evidence of history. Like, even with the ancient pictures of, depicting they call it the Black Madonna, or, Mary, mother of Christ, depicting them as black, because Catholics, the Polish, the Russians, they all know that the original Hebrew Israelites were black. They know, and that's why their art depicts it that way. And that's why you got pictures of the Pope, bound down or, acquiescing to the Black Madonna and the baby Christ. But all throughout, history, pictorially speaking, every time you look at they have pictures of the Moor, they look like this. They don't have pictures of those so-called Berber Moors that I just showed you. No, they don't have pictures like that. That's why I say I'm not buying it. Right? I believe and it's possible that some Hamitic northern, Africans might have converted, to Islam, because back then it was pretty much, Islam or death. They was not playing around. Just do a, I don't want to put too much time in, but just do if you care about it, do a Google search on the ancient Muslim conquest. They wasn't playing around. They was running around making it happen. It's Islam or die. So I'm not saying it's not possible that there could have been some Hamitic Africans, that converted and rolled with them. But I personally think there were no Moors. I think that the Moors were actually the Ishmaelites. That's what I personally think. That's my hypothesis, and I say that based on where Ishmael and his mother settled, whatever the case may be, and him being the progenitor, of the so-called Arab Muslims, right? And they just weren't. History just is not kind to Ishmael or the original Ishmaelites, because, see, genetically speaking, the Ishmaelites DNA, or their Y DNA haplotype, is E1A. Yeah, I believe it's E1A. I only came across one brother. I actually have a picture of him too. He is a direct descendant of an original Ishmaelite, and I found that fascinating. Like, I really did. But he was upset because he was claiming he thought he was a Hebrew Israelite. So when his DNA came back that he was an E1B1A, the brother was heated. I'm like, look, man, okay, genetically you're not Jacob, but that's cool. I said, do you realize? I said, you're a direct descendant of Ishmael? And I mean, I just thought it was fascinating. He wouldn't, he wasn't that happy. He wasn't feeling it, and I get it. I guess, he was disappointed. But again, with DNA, my people, it is what it is. It's going to tell you the truth. It's not going to tell you what you want to hear, or it's going to tell you your truth, whatever that is. Right? And that's the beautiful thing, about DNA. I mean, people can lie all day. People can tell you something your whole life, and your DNA can come back and be like, man, that ain't even true. And sometimes, it's sad, it's disappointing. I get it, but at the end of the day, you are who you are, and it is what it is. And so I just kind of wanted to do a little lesson on this real quick, because it just kind of dropped in my spirit, about the original Ishmaelites. They never really get no props. I believe them to be the so-called Moors that was running around doing all the damage. and found their way up to northern Spain and ruled that for a couple of years. See, they don't really, like I said, anytime you see them depicted, you see these images right here. You don't see no whitewash images of those so-called Berbers, calling them, talking about they were the original, they were the Moors. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all, my people. But anyway, I just want a little something I wanted to do real quick. Hopefully y'all like this little presentation. That's just my personal hypothesis. I don't know this to be an actual fact, but I do believe that the so-called Moors were just the original Ishmaelites, but they weren't credited properly. But I believe that's what that was. All right, my people, until the next segment, it's Dr. Ephraim signing off, saying Hayabaya Shem Yeshua HaMashiach Baruch Atah Adonai, for now and forever. Shalom, elect.